Welcome back to the Disability Hiring Playbook podcast, a mini-series dedicated to helping vocational rehabilitation counselors and their clients successfully navigate today's work environment, source more interviews, and actually land jobs in competitive integrated employment in the world that we live in today, post-COVID. My name is Tanner Gears, your host, and my goal is to help you successfully close more cases and help your vocational rehabilitation clients actually achieve competitive integrated employment. And if you missed the first episode of how we got here and why this is so important to me personally, then I recommend you taking a listen to that. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, the video version will have some additional screenshots or visuals that you may find helpful. So if you want, you can search for Disability Hiring Playbook on YouTube, or you can find the direct links to that on our website at accessabilityofficer.com. That's accessibility with two A's, accessabilityofficer.com. In this episode, we're going to lay the foundation for your client's job search success, and that starts with their digital brand and business card, specifically your client's LinkedIn profile. Okay, 1 in 4 employers will not hire a candidate without a social media profile. All right, 70% of employers use social media actively to source and actually scan out potential candidates, and over 90% of recruiters are on LinkedIn right now actively looking for candidates. They're looking for the best candidates, they're filtering out garbage, and they're putting the best in front of their customers, right? Recruiters don't want to put a bad product in front of their paying customers. They only want the best candidates for their clients, the best employees, and they're using LinkedIn to source them. Why? Because hundreds of millions of candidates are on LinkedIn right now, and so does your client need to be, right? They need to be where recruiters and employers and hiring managers are looking for their next hire. So how do we do that? It all starts with your headline. What is your headline? That is your profile photo, your headline text, and your name, right? Those are the 3 things that every recruiter and hiring manager first sees about your clients every time that they're on LinkedIn, okay? Every time you like something, you post something, you repost something, every time that you visit their profile and they get a connection. Every time they're seeing you for the first time on LinkedIn, that first impression, that's your headline. That's your profile photo. That's that first initial text that you want them to see. So what do we want to do? We want to create a very professional profile photo with a high color contrast, right? We really want to pop out off that page. We want to be professional, smiling, looking into the camera, making sure that we're doing that well. And we want to have a headline that captures attention. If you go to my profile on LinkedIn, that's linkedin.com/in/Tanner Gears, you will see me smiling into the camera, but you'll also see my headline text, which is the U.S. disabled unemployment rate is the same as the U.S. unemployment rate. That's a catchy headline text, right? Like that tells people what I'm about, what I'm focused on, what I'm passionate about. And your client's headline should be the same thing. It should be the same way, right? So whatever their job goal is, we want to begin to orient this digital branded business card around that. And the first thing is our headline. So if your client's in HR, if they're in cybersecurity, if they're in digital accessibility, if they're an executive assistant, whatever job market that they're in, we want to have a catchy headline that tells recruiters who you are, what you're about, what you're passionate about, and really earns the attention, the few seconds of attention that they're going to give your client before they really know who they are. Those few seconds, it really captures their attention and earns the right for them, for you to get them to look at your profile. You see, we've got to grab the attention so we can earn the right for their time and attention to actually look at us deeper. And that all starts with the headline. So that's the first step in establishing your digital brand and business card on LinkedIn, is getting a great profile photo that's professional and getting a great headline text. So what does your client's LinkedIn headline say. It should be powerful as, right, the U.S. disabled unemployment rate should be the same as the U.S. unemployment rate. And I'm going to share a couple examples. I'm going to make it really tactical so that your clients can use regardless of whatever industry that they're in, okay? Whatever this is, it should go along with their beautiful smiling face and name, okay? So here's a human resource example. Disability inclusion, a vertical bar. And if you're not on YouTube, if you're watching this or listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, head on over to YouTube to see some screenshots and examples of this, okay? But it says disability inclusion culture builder, your driver of employee engagement, right? That's a human resources headline intro, right? I'll say that again. Disability inclusion culture builder, the driver of employee engagement. That's a human resource. That's a catchy human resources headline text, right? What does this person have to say? Here's one for accessible gaming. Lived experience is why I'm passionate about universal design for all gamers. Here's an executive assistant example. Master of efficiency and organizational excellence, vertical bar. I get it done, right? That's powerful, right? That's catchy. Here's a customer service call center example, all right? Your go-to problem solver, master of calm in the chaos, all right? You could also even do something like master of calm in the chaos, exceptional customer experiences, one call at a time. Those are great examples of catchy headline text that's going to get people to click through to your profile. Like I said, recruiters have special tools on LinkedIn that help sift through all of the hundreds of millions of profiles that are on there, right? So they can specifically target and discover candidates that their employers, their clients are looking for. Okay, so what would you advise your clients to update their profiles with? Here's a pro tip. It should be in alignment with the jobs that your clients are searching for, right? This is why we want to think strategically about what we put in our work experience, even if we don't have work experience, right? Even if we only have experience as a volunteer, a mentor, or an apprentice, right? We can put the things in our profile that is going to catch a recruiter's search filters, right? Think strategically about the content that we put into our LinkedIn profile. This is why we want to be strategic. And this is why, for us to stand out, we don't want our digital brand, our business card, our LinkedIn profile to be a mirror image of our resume, all right? That's not how you stand out. So ask your clients this question. What skills will a hiring manager that's looking for to fill a job that I'm looking for, what skills are they going to be interested in me having? What are recruiters looking for me in a candidate? What skills do you have that will help you get a job? Ensure all of those skills are listed on your LinkedIn profile. You can list up to 50 skills on your LinkedIn profile. So if you're in HR and it's sourcing, recruiting, hiring, interviewing, whatever the skills that are listed in a job description for the job that you want, you better make sure those skills are on your profile, because recruiters and hiring managers are using their search filters to find people with those skills on their profile. And if you've got 38 of the 50 skills that they're looking for, probably a good chance they're going to find you. Okay, you have less than 8 seconds for a recruiter to look at your profile before they make a snap judgment about you. Less than 8 seconds. That's your first impression, right? So do you ever wonder why, speaking of this, if you've only got 8 seconds, think about your LinkedIn profile. There's the headline, right? Your profile photo, your cover photo. Then there's the about me section. Then there's the featured section. Then there's the activity section. Then there's the experience section. And then there's the education section. Have you ever wondered why your experience and education section are so far down on a LinkedIn profile? It's because your profile, your client's digital brand and business card is so much more than their experience or education. And it's not the first thing. It's not the determining factor on whether or not your client will get a job. Work experience and education, that stuff, those details are for your resume, okay? Your LinkedIn profile is your opportunity to highlight the reasons why you are the best candidate for the job. What value are you going to bring to the table? Employers hire people for one reason. It's because they got problems. And the value exchange that they're willing to solve for that problem is also known as a salary, meaning the degree to which they're willing to pay someone to solve a problem is equivalent to the hourly rate or the salary that they're willing to pay. So if they're going to pay you $50,000 to solve a problem, then you better have $50,000 worth of value, $50,000 worth of solutions, right? That's $25 an hour. That's what we start our digital accessibility testers at, $25 an hour, right? And it's because they're helping me solve a problem that I'm willing to pay $25 an hour to solve, right? So how are your clients aligning their value, their profile, to the dollarized value at which an employer is willing to pay to solve a problem? Right? That's why all of these sections, your about me, your featured section, your activity section, all of these sections come before your experience, before your education, because this is your chance, those 8 seconds, to really demonstrate that value. All right. So again, the first thing is your profile photo, your cover photo, and your headline text. Right? We cover in the Getting Hired Playbook in the 12-week instructor-led training program, we cover exactly how to do this, your profile photo and your cover photo and your headline text. I provided some examples earlier, right? But then is your about section, your featured section, and your activity section. Remember, employers are using social media to scan and filter out candidates. They're using it to find candidates, but they're also using it to filter out candidates. Right? They want to see what you're about. People on social media demonstrate who they are, right? You get a glimpse into someone's soul, as it were, right? And that's why employers use social media to scan out candidates. So how are we presenting ourselves online? What is that digital brand and business card that we're creating? So in the about section, like sometimes I recommend to our clients, to our Getting Hired Playbook students, don't even put an about section. If you look on my profile, my about section is super short, super simple, right? It gets overcomplicated. People think that a LinkedIn profile is a resume, and so they basically have like like a description of everything that they've done across their career, right? But that's what your resume is for. Like this is your LinkedIn profile. My about section says this: every time a blind person gets a job, an angel gets its wings. Right? Think about how that ties back to my headline text. The U.S. disabled unemployment rate should be the same as the U.S. unemployment rate. They click through to my profile. That's catchy enough. They click through to my profile. They look down. The first thing they see is a little bit of comedy, a little bit of lightheartedness, and really how seriously difficult this is, but how serious I am about this. Every time a blind person gets a job, an angel gets its wings. It also further refines my headline text. It lets someone know that I'm specifically focused on people who are blind. Right? Our organizational vision, the bigger picture, is that the U.S. disabled unemployment rate is the same as the U.S. unemployment rate. But I know as a totally blind job seeker, right, that it's way harder for some disabilities, way more harder. It's much more difficult for some disabilities than it is others. Right? If someone's in a wheelchair and they don't really have an assistive technology need, and they can demonstrate to their employer, they can mobilize themselves, they can drive to the job. Like it's so much easier to get a job. So the unemployment rates for those demographics are going to be much lower, right? But for someone who's totally blind, who has the transportation issue, the assistive technology issue, the accessibility issue, the social stigmas and discrimination, like it's much harder, right? So my about section is super short, super tight. It says who I am in as short of words possible, but it also does what? It earns more attention. Wow. Every time a blind person gets a job, a disabled person gets its wings. What else is going on? And then they're going to look to my featured section. Right? In your featured section for your clients, this is where they can show their work. This is where they can show off, all the things that a resume can't do, like show your portfolio if you're an artist, the projects that you've worked on, all the specifics, the things that you can demonstrate your value, the dollarized value, your ability to solve a problem, the reason why employers are going to hire somebody for a job. You can highlight this specifically in your featured section. It can be a YouTube video that you've done. It could be a podcast that you've been on, an interview that you've been on. It can be a screenshot of some work that you've done. It could be an Excel spreadsheet. It can literally be a deliverable that you've done for an employer. Like, what is the thing that's going to help you get closer to having a recruiter or hiring manager say, hey, I want to talk to this person about this call center job. I want to talk to this person about a human resources sourcing position. I want to talk to this person about being a digital accessibility tester. Notice my language here. I want to talk to this person. They're looking at you as a person. They don't care that you have a disability. They don't care, right? They don't care. It's not important right now. What is important is how much value you can bring to the table. How much value you can bring to the table. How well can you solve their problem? And you can demonstrate this very, very well in the featured section. Again, we go over exactly how to do this and help your clients walk through this, construct a strategy and some tactics for how to deliver the best featured section possible so that they can get that interview. Okay. The next thing after your featured section is your activity section. This is when you're liking, commenting, reposting. This is where your thought leadership happens, right? The most recent things that you've done on LinkedIn on the platform is going to be right here. Remember, this is before your experience section. It's more important. It's more important, right? They want to know what you're doing, and they can see at a glimpse recently what you've been doing on LinkedIn, right? That's how important the activity section is, and we'll cover later in a future episode on how to develop your brand and establish thought leadership, and it all happens with your activity on LinkedIn. So that is the high-level overview of your profile. The other thing that I want to say on your LinkedIn profile that is super, super important, and we also cover this in another future episode, is your network and strategic network, right? We're animals. We are social creatures, and there's something unconscious that happens to us animals, us human beings, when we see someone with a big network, right? When they see 500 or 5,000 or 50,000 connections, right? If you have 5 connections on your LinkedIn profile, that doesn't hit like 500 connections. And 500 connections is good, right? You can see that someone has 500 connections, but when you click through to their profile and you see that they've got 5,000 connections, all of a sudden, that just creates more weight and more value unconsciously in the recruiter and the hiring manager's eyes. Wow, 5,000 people care enough about this person to actually connect with them, right? 5,000. And then within that 5,000 is your strategic network. That is the people who can open up doors for you right now. Someone who you can text or message that can really create something for yourself, your strategic network. So how do you build a strong network so you can grab that attention and earn it? Right? It's social proof. We're social creatures, right? And then how do you build the strategic network who can actually move things forward for you? We cover all of this and much, much more in future episodes of the Disability Hiring Playbook miniseries. If you found this valuable, this content right here on how to develop your digital brand and business card, we go into much more detail for your clients. We actually walk them through this entire process, how to set it all up, how to navigate it, how to use the LinkedIn mobile app, how to use the desktop app or on their laptop, right? 2 different experiences, and we got to use them both to be effective. We teach them how to set up their LinkedIn profile image, right? Their headline text. We help them customize it. We work with them one-on-one to walk them through this process and make sure that they are polished and professional, that every time a recruiter is looking for someone in their job, in their market, that they're finding them, right? And that's what starts to happen. You start to get recruiters reaching out to your clients and actually messaging them to set up an interview, right? Actually, recruiters setting up an interview with your client, unsolicited. This is what happens. This is what's real possible in the Getting Hired Playbook. So if you are interested in learning more about more details of the Getting Hired Playbook, this 12-week instructor-led program, go to accessibilityofficer.com/GHP. That's accessibility with 2 A's. Accessibility with 2 A's. accessibilityofficer.com/GHP for the Getting Hired Playbook. There's an interest form there. It's very simple. Just put in your information and we will reach out with more details on getting into the program. The results are absolutely phenomenal. It is literally the most fulfilling thing that I do. It gets me out of bed excited like a spring chicken every single day. When people message me, when they email me, when they call me, when they text message me, my clients, and they say, hey, I got the job. Hey, I got another interview. Hey, I can't believe this is happening for me. It wouldn't have been possible without you. Thank you so much. That's why I do what we do. And this is how we will together, vocational rehabilitation counselor and client, this is how together we will achieve our vision, right? That the U.S. disabled unemployment rate is the same as the U.S. unemployment rate. If this was valuable to you, if you think another vocational rehabilitation counselor or client could use this, right? Message them, send this to them, share it with them, send them an email, send them a text message, share this on your social media, right? The more people who know about this stuff, the better. We are going to get more people with disabilities jobs. And that's what we do on the Disability Hiring Playbook. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. It's one of my favorites. I love you guys. Thank you so much. My name is Tanner Gears, and this is the Disability Hiring Playbook.